Hare Krishna. मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, Hare Krishna. Now, chapter 24 talks with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When Lord Chaitanya met Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya at Jagannath Puri, the Bhattacharya began, being the greatest logician of the day, wanted to teach the Lord Vedanta philosophy. Since the Bhattacharya was an elderly man, the age of Lord Chaitanya's father, he took compassion on the young sannyasi and requested him to learn the Vedanta Sutra from him. Otherwise, the Bhattacharya maintained it will be difficult for the youthful Lord Chaitanya to continue as a sannyasi. When the Lord agreed, the Bhattacharya began to teach him in the temple of Jagannath. The Bhattacharya spoke to the Lord about the Vedanta Sutra continually for 7 days, and the Lord heard him without speaking a word. On the eighth day of the Bhattacharya said, "You have been hearing the Vedanta Sutra from me for the past week, but you have not asked any questions, nor have you indicated whether I am explaining it nicely. So I cannot tell whether you are understanding me or not." I am a fool, the Lord replied. I have no capacity to study the Vedanta Sutra. But since you asked me to hear you, I am trying to listen. I am simply listening to you because you said that it is the duty of every sannyasi to hear the Vedanta Sutra. But as far as your explanation is concerned, that I cannot understand. The Lord indicated that in the Mahavadi Sampradaya, there are many so-called sannyasis who, even though illiterate and unintelligent, hear the Vedanta Sutra from their spiritual master just as a matter of formality. Although they listen, they do not understand anything. As far as Lord Chaitanya was concerned, the reason he said he did not understand the explanation of the Bhattacharya was not because it was too difficult for him to understand, but because he did not approve of the Mayavadi interpretation.
माता जी मुझे स्क्रीन शो नहीं हो रही है.
According to the Muktika Upanishad, there are 108 Upanishads. Among these are the Isha, Kain, Katha, Prashna, Mundak, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Aittiriya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, Brahma, Kaivalya, Jabal, Shvetashvatar, Hamsa, Aruneya, Garbha, and Narayana Upanishad. The 108 Upanishads contain all knowledge about the absolute truth. Sometimes people ask why Vaishnavas use 108 prayer beads of the for chanting the holy names. We think it is because there are 108 Upanishads containing full knowledge about the absolute truth. On the other hand, some Vaishnav transcendentalists think that the 108 beads represent the companions of Lord Krishna in his last rounds. Lord Chaitanya protested against the misinterpretations of the Upanishads, rejecting any explanation which did not give their direct meaning. The direct interpretation is called Abhidha Vritti, whereas the indirect interpretation is called Lakshana Vritti. The indirect interpretation serve Lord Chaitanya protested against misinterpretations of the Upanishads, rejecting any explanation which did not give direct meaning. The direct interpretation is called Abhidha Vritti, whereas the indirect interpretation is called Lakshana Vritti. The indirect interpretation serves no purpose. There are four kinds of understanding: direct understanding, pratyaksha, hypothetical understanding, anuman, historical understanding, aditiya, and understanding through sound shabda. Of these four, understanding from the Vedic scriptures, sound representation of the absolute truth is the best method. Traditional Vedic students accept understanding through sound to be the best.
The stool and bone of any living entity are considered to be impure according to the Vedic literature. Yet the same Vedic literature asserts that cow dung and conch cells are very pure. Apparently, this statement are contradictory, but because cow dung and conch cells are considered pure by the Vedas, they are accepted as pure by the followers of the Vedas without argument. If we try to understand the statement by indirect interpretation, creating some hypothesis, then we challenge the evidentical evidential authority of the Vedic statement. In other words, Vedic statement cannot be accepted according to our imperfect interpretations. They must be accepted as they are. If they are not accepted in this way, there is no authority in the Vedic statements. According to the Lord Chaitanya, those who try to give some personal interpretation of Vedic statement are not at all intelligent. They mislead their followers by inventing their own interpretation. In India, there is a class of men known as Arya Samajists who say that they accept the original Vedas only and reject all other Vedic literature. The motive of these people, however, is to give their own interpretation according to the Lord Chaitanya. Such interpretations are not to be accepted. They are simply not Vedic. Lord Chaitanya said that the Vedic statement of the Upanishads are like sunlight. Everything is clear and very distinct when it is seen in the sunlight. The statement of the Vedas are similarly clear and distinct. The Mayavadi philosophers simply cover the sunlight with the cloud of their misinterpretations.
Lord Chaitanya said that all the Vedic statements of the Upanishads aim at the ultimate truth known as Brahma. The word Brahma means the greatest, and the greatest should immediately be understood to refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all emanations. Unless the greatest possesses six opulences in full, he cannot be called the greatest. The greatest is therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the Supreme Brahma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme Brahma. The conceptions of the impersonal Brahma and the localized super soul are contained within the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whenever we speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we add the word Shri, indicating that he is full with six opulences. This means that he is eternally a person. If he were not a person, the six opulences could not be present in fullness. Therefore, whenever it is said that the Supreme Absolute Truth is impersonal, what is meant is that his personality is not material. To distinguish his transcendental body from material bodies, some philosophers have explained him as having no material personality. In other words, his material personality is denied and his spiritual personality is established. In the Shvetashvatar Upanishad, this is clearly explained.
The absolute truth has no material legs and hands, but he has spiritual hands by which he accepts everything offered to him. He has no material eyes, but he has spiritual eyes by which he can everything and anything. He has no material ears, but he can hear everything and anything. His with his spiritual ears, having perfect senses, he knows past, future, and present. Indeed, he knows everything, but no one can understand him, for by material senses he cannot be understood. Being the original of all immenseness, he is the supreme and supreme, the greatest, the personality of Godhead. There are many similar Vedic hymns which definitely establish that the supreme absolute truth is a person who is not of this material world. The haya srisha pancharatra explains that although in each and every upanishad the supreme Brahm, Brahman is first viewed as impersonal at the end, and the personal from of the Supreme Lord is accepted. Another example is Sri Ishopnishad, the 15th mantra of which runs as follows.
O my
Oh
Lord,
my Lord,
O personality of Godhead, you are the maintainer of the whole universe. Everyone is sustained by your mercy. Therefore, devotional service unto you is the true religion of life. I am engaged in such devotional service, and so I request you to please maintain me and ever increasingly engage me in your transcendental service. You are the eternal form of Sachidananda, and your effulgence is spread all over the creation. Just like the sunshine, as the sun disk is covered by the glaring sunshine, so your transcendental form is covered by the Brahmajyoti. I desire to find you within that Brahmajyoti. Therefore, please remove this glaring effulgence. In this verse, it is clearly stated that the eternal blissful cognizant form of the Supreme Lord is to be found within the glaring effulgence of the Brahmajyoti, which emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the personal body of the Lord is the source of Brahmajyoti, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. That the impersonal Brahma is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also stated in the Hayashuyushak Pancharatra. In every other Vedic scripture, such as Upanishads, whenever there is a talk of the impersonal Brahma, in the beginning, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is finally established at the end. The Ishopanishad mantra we quoted above indicates that the Supreme Absolute Truth is both impersonal and personal eternally, but that his personal aspect is more important than the impersonal one.
According to a mantra in the तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद या तो वह इमानी भूतानी जयंते. This cosmic manifestations is an emanation from the supreme absolute truth, and rests it rests in the supreme absolute truth. Thus, the absolute truth has been called the ablative, causative, and locative performer, and as such he must be the supreme personality of Godhead. For these are symptoms of personality. As the ablative performer, he is the source of all thinking, feeling, and willing in this cosmic manifestation. Without thinking, feeling, and willing, there is no personality of the or arrangement and design of the cosmic manifestation. Then again, he is causative, for he is the original designer of the cosmos, and he is also locative, that is, everything is resting in his energy. This attributes are all clearly attributes of his personality. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it is said that when the Supreme Personality of God had desire to become many, he glances over material nature, as also confirmed in Atreya Upanishad. Sa ekshata, ekshata. The Lord glanced at material nature. The cosmic manifestation did not exist before his glance. Therefore, his glance is not materially contaminated. His seeing power exists before the material creation. Therefore, his body is not material. His thinking, feeling, and acting are all transcendental. In other words, it should be concluded that the mind by which the Lord thinks, feels, and wills is transcendental, and that the eyes by which he glances over material nature are also transcendental. Since his transcendental body and all his senses existed before the material creation, the Lord also has the transcendental mind and transcendental thinking, feeling, and willing. This is the conclusion of all Vedic literature.
The word Brahma is found everywhere throughout the Upanishads. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are all taken together as the Absolute Truth. Brahma and Paramatma realization are considered stages toward the ultimate realization, which is realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the real conclusion of all Vedic literature. Thus, according to the evidences afforded by various Vedic scriptures, the Supreme Lord Krishna is accepted as the ultimate goal of Brahma realization. The Bhagavad Gita confirms that there is nothing superior to Krishna. Madhvacharya, one of the greatest acharyas in the Brahma's disciplic succession, has stated in his explanation of the Vedanta Sutra that everything can be seen through the authorities of the scriptures. He has quoted a verse from the Bhavishya Purana in which it is stated that the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvaveda, Mahabharata, Pancharatra, and the original Ramayana are actually Vedic evidence. The Puranas accepted by the Vaishnavas are also considered Vedic evidence. Indeed, whatever is contained in that literature should be taken without argument as the ultimate conclusion. And all these literature proclaim Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, so we'll end here, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhishya kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. I'll share the summary of this chapter tomorrow.
Okay,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Mataji.
much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.